Bullett's break is going to be a hot topic tonight for him. If he can find success with it, just feel like it will set him up nicely. That is a lovely start. Bullitt bullish about his chances.
What a start this is on the break. If it's a big factor, that is a big statement to start with. This is as good a split as you could ever wish to get. He could go either way here. He's going to take the yellows. I think if he was slightly straighter on the red, you can make a bigger case for reds, as in go red top left and one on the top cushion. But yellows, I think, were always the way. And it will come down to one shot, and that's the transition. But it's quite a big window to come down. Just come down the left-hand side. To land on the yellow below the 8-ball, no problem. It's landing on it in a nice way. But even if you finish high, you can use the red, soft control off the red to play on the next yellow. So you don't need to do too much here. Maybe a little bit more would have been nice. Even go further left or further down, either way would have worked. Now he's going into the red, but the red might get in the way of his last yellow potentially.
Yeah, it's about as awkward as he could have been on this yellow, really, while still being sort of fairly comfortable on it.
Oh, he's done really well to avoid the red, but not landed nicely. He's really worked hard to avoid it, so he didn't have that problem. Now he's got too much angle, he's going to go up the table.
Had to really, really get into that. Dug right into it with the draw, just to avoid that red. And he thought he could hold on the reds. Needed it full in the face. It was actually a very similar shot to that yellow onto the 8-ball that we saw in the clip just before we came to watch early in this match. Was looking for that same thing again. Full contact on the red, he's dead straight on this yellow, and it's job done. This, however, requires something a little bit special. It's a solid hit, but nothing towards a pocket, and this is manna from heaven for John Chambers.
You can cut Oly a little bit of slack. That's first visit to the table for him on the night, but he rushed those first 4 shots a little bit. That visit was always going to come down to the transition, and you could see the ball he had was, you could be on that from a lot of different places, but it was getting on that nicely to make your work at the bottom really easy was the key. And for me, look, when you got a player that plays as quick as Oly, and you can make the case he's the quickest player on the tour, he'll certainly make that case, and I can get on board with it. But sometimes you can be critical when they play really quickly. But to me, he just needed that little touch there, just to kind of really settle himself in and work out exactly where he wanted to be.
John did a little bit of work on his first shot in this visit. Just nudged that red into open play.
Would like more angle here. He's a touch straight. So much so, he's not even going to take it on.
I quite like that.
Wow, this is very makeable. I don't mind the choice of shot, but he could have done with getting the cue ball another roll or two. You see, he can get to the left cushion. You know exactly what he's going to do here. He'd make this a decent number of times out of 10. Certainly maybe 2 or 3.
Lovely shot, but cue ball is in. That's tough. That is tough. Maybe that's what John was playing.
Well, it is a little. The thing is, though, with John's shot, if he reaches the cushion there, that shot's not available. Now, the kick shot from the bottom's still available, and you know Oly's going to get solid contact and good things can happen. But that shot he left was very much on for Oly Bale.
Yeah, I really like the choice of shot from John, but you're right, the execution lacking a little. Make a mess out of these, mind. Heard in his interview that I think John feels like he's struggling with the most his cue ball, which he feels will come from more experience in these kinds of conditions. He mentioned it in his interview. It is so tough to replicate sort of pro conditions, if you like it, down the club or wherever your setup might be.
It is difficult because know in the club he plays out of, they do have the table with the cloth and the setup, but it just, for whatever reason, it's hard to replicate the exact conditions you get, and the table plays quicker, and you know, it's that little that fraction out every single time, and you just start losing that cue ball. That's when you get yourself in trouble.
John's first break of the night. He does it 1-0 up. Is he going to get a bit of luck? He is last ball rolling after jawing the middle pocket twice. Oly Bale will be sat there quietly steaming.
Yes, especially with what happened in the previous frame as well. The good news from an Oly Bale perspective is this is a tough layout. It's far from a gimme run out. The red passes the yellow to top left, so you're thinking reds are probably the better one, but it doesn't have an opener on reds. So going yellows, which are tough. I suppose, I mean, the reason I'm saying they're tough, those two yellows together look awkward, and the 8-ball, but if the bottom yellow of the two goes, then yellows are always a good set. Oh, he's not playing it, so that tells us it probably doesn't go from where he is here. The bottom one of the two should go if he finishes high on it from the right-hand side, which then solves his problems, which well, you can see he's eyeing it up now, so he's playing on it here.
Good shot required. Good shot played. May look to take both of these sort of together, if you like, in tandem. That's exactly what he's played.
That was a lovely shot. He wanted to be straight previously and he wasn't, having that high angle. It was easy to play for the yellow at the top, but then that makes the other yellow a problem ball to get onto. But beautiful control to come back across the table using the side cushion. Still needs one more good shot. Rather be off angle the other way with this ball.
Well, for a player who's struggling with his cue ball, it's not bad. That is a brilliant finish from John Chambers. That was electric.
Fabulous out, that one. First shot was the only ball he could take on. Obviously did some work on his first shot, and then he just tried to work out the pattern from there, how they ended up, and he attacked his bad ball coming down the right hand side, got on it, and then from there he just very assured with the way he dealt with that.
Yeah, it's one of those finishes where you take it almost at face value and you think, well, pot-wise he's not had to do anything too difficult, and that's where you see the really good finishes, is when that cue ball was so well controlled. It would have been so easy to not get out there with the cue balls that he had to play. Played 2 or 3 exceptional shots. Fabulous break from Oly. Look at that.
That's even better than his first one. The first one was hit okay. This one's hit brilliantly. Look at the cue ball. Look at the spots on it. It's very, very good. Flushed.
Yeah, he puts a lot of emphasis on the break, does Oly, and when you can break that well, it must be absolute murder to break that well. You know, not make balls, not get chances.
This time he lands perfectly with a transition shot. Well, maybe a ball low, but it's absolutely fine. Just get across to the left hand side here. He doesn't have to come down the table and find a gap. You could just drop this in. Yeah, Just use the bottom cushion and come back out.
Oh, great response from Oly Bale. Good sign for him, that really. Would have been easy to sort of sit and stew after the way that John's won those opening 2 frames. He would have felt hard done by in frame 1. He would have felt a little bit hard done by in frame 2 with the way John broke and then went on to clear.
I know it's subtle, and I know that was still very quick for Oly, but it just felt that split second more controlled. Just, you know, took that extra step on each one just to kind of make sure transition up the table, and then, you know, he had to play develop the ball because he had a high angle, and it was just that little bit steadier than the first visit, and I think that should set the tone now for him. He should be in the night. That's his pace. That's his rhythm.
Frame 4, John James to break, leading 2 frames to 1.
On this occasion, it's a pretty good break from John Chambers, much more like it. And a pretty decent split here.
Yeah, reds are good here. Yellow above the 8 ball stops you going yellows, but these reds are absolutely perfect. Everything goes. It's a better layout than the one he took out previously.
Red ball's in play.
The 2 reds in the middle of the table together, if the right-hand one goes top right, it actually makes things a little bit easier because you just drop this in, come on and off, and leave yourself straight in top right, and you're essentially away, rather than having to kind of come up for it and get it into the centre pocket or anything like that. He has decided to come up, and it's gone half wrong. He's going to have to make a slightly trickier ball than the one he was playing for.
A lot, just threads the needle. Right, very makeable.
I think I'd have preferred to leave the one higher up the table as your connection to the 8 ball, but he could have. If he was straight there, you'd just roll it through. But he had just that little bit of angle. But he could have screwed underneath this red and taken both reds to left centre. It shouldn't really cause him a problem as long as you're straight enough, which he was always going to be.
Hot start from these two. After a bit of a iffy first frame. The last 3 have been fantastic. 3 rattled off the break from John Chambers and Oly Bale, and it's Johnny leads.
It's been a great match so far. Just a 1 positional error from Oly. It's the difference, but it's a 2 frame difference because of it.
So 3-1 down, 6 minutes left. Oly's broken really well so far in this match. He needs that to continue, to give him the chances he needs. Fabulous break.
He's hitting that break so well. I mean, that really is.
You can tell he's been putting some time in, because that's a timing and a rhythm thing, isn't it? He's flushing it.
Out of the 4 players so far, small sample size I know, but he's hitting the break the best out of the 4 of them. Both reds at the bottom of the table go. I guess it's only the one, sort of the other one in the bottom half. So rather than the 2 further down, I don't think it goes bottom right. But now you've got down here. If he can hold on the yellow, the reason he's stepped off this is the fact that he could just flick off the yellow and go towards the red, which he doesn't want to do like that.
Took his medicine there, really.
Yeah. If he was straighter there, he drops it in, and he's got the right centre. He was playing into the red so he doesn't leave it alone at the bottom of the table, because I don't think that goes bottom right. If it did, he would have played for that ball to connect to the ones at the bottom.
That noise you just heard signals the beginning of the 15-second shot clock.
15-second shot clock.
For someone as fast as the bullet, it shouldn't matter a huge amount.
He just had a glance at that red. I think it might have half a pocket past the yellow.
That was a big shot to try and have to find.
Extension.
John Chambers can get the job done with time to spare. Not once in his 3 wins already in this competition, but he got to 4.
This isn't a certainty, because when do you go up for the yellow at the top of the table and what do you play on afterwards? Make the case that the easiest ball to play on after that yellow at the top is the 8 ball, but that can go wrong.
Sense to leave it till last. Give yourself a bit of a high angle, and you just know that anywhere in the bottom half of the table you've got a shot.
I feel like the red,
really.
Yeah, I feel like the red in the middle of the table plays quite big here, because you want to go a little bit wider of it, but then you're taking it closer towards the yellow. He's got to find quite a tight line. Oh, he finds it. That's beautiful. But from where he is here, it's not a certainty to get on this 8 ball. So I mentioned it at the start of the visit. He may have to take his medicine, just drop this in and take an awkward 8 ball from there. If he forces it, all sorts could happen. Yeah, takes his medicine, pulls it back a little bit.
This 8 ball for the win for John Chambers. Part of the pocket. What a performance from John Boy. So in the zone, he hasn't even realised he's won. That was a fabulous performance from him, and he is right in the mix tonight. It's almost like he's coming out of a daze. He's in the Matrix, is John Boy, and he gets the win in the Champions League.